Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California, and today I thought we would make 2 cards using the Joyful Flurry bundle. Now, you can purchase this in a bundle or you can purchase the dies and the stamp set separately. I used all of the snowflake dies in the stamp set and the sentiment, but with the dies, I only used the 2 sentiment dies, actually just the one larger sentiment die in our samples today. So if you don't want to spend the extra money to get the dies to make these cards, you really don't have to. We're doing 2 different cards today. They are the same concept, the same idea, only one is more of a fun wintry look, and we've got our alcohol background here. And then the other one is just on a white background, but I used different color embossing powders. I used the copper, the gold, and the silver. And that's what we're going to try to do today. We're going to do these 2 cards. Everything that we use here will be linked in the description below. We will also be coordinating our envelopes to match. So let's go ahead and get started. I think first we need to start with the alcohol ink background. And what I did here was, I've done this before, and I will go ahead and show you again. I am using Vellum. So let's get this here. This is for this card. This is for our second card. And I will also be using pearls on this one. So we've got some vellum here. This is just our Stampin' Up! Vellum, and I really like this because it's a little thicker than the stuff that you get at the store. And our adhesive sheets. And our Night of Navy, Dark Night of Navy alcohol marker. So I will be bringing in my hair dryer because my hair dryer has 2 settings, and I can get a low setting on the hair dryer to kind of move that alcohol around, whereas if I were to use my heat gun, it would just dry it too fast. And then I have just some alcohol that you get at the drugstore in a little squirt bottle that I use to clean things. So we're going to use that. So let's get started. I just take my marker and we are just going to scribble some of that ink all over here. And then we are just going to squirt this down with alcohol. And I use a lot of alcohol because I want it wet. I want that ink to move around. So now I'm going to take my hair dryer on low. Okay, and I think that came out perfect. Now the alcohol really does dry rather quickly, but if you get some around the edge that is, not quite dried, that's fine. Just kind of use your rag and wipe it off. Just tap on it because we are going to trim this down. So we'll get rid of those edges, but I think that background came out perfect. So we will also be using our adhesive sheets. I've got one already cut here. And before I do the stamping on here and the heat embossing, I want to put my adhesive on the back because I'm going to use a whole sheet because I want this vellum to be a little bit more stable. So we're going to add our adhesive sheet, and we don't want the adhesive to show as we stick it to our card panel. So I am just going to add my adhesive here. Just like that. It's pretty simple. And then we are going to add this to our card base because with the vellum, it is more delicate, and I want to make sure that this has a nice sturdy background because when you heat emboss, you really want to minimize the amount of time that you have the heat on your project. So now I've just got another piece of cardstock, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just going to add this panel to that. And it's really pretty simple. It comes off rather quickly. But I thought these two cards were really fun. They have a different look. One is a little bit more elegant. One is a little bit more wintry. So let's add this to our cardstock. And I want to get it fairly centered. There we go. Perfect. So now we can start with our heat embossing. So I'm going to put this alcohol aside. And what I did here was, this is all white. I've got my embossing powders all ready. I'm not using my tray today because I am using all different colors. I've got gold. Actually, I put the wrong lid on that. I've got gold, silver, copper, and white. So let's go ahead and start with this. Now, this is alcohol and it did dry rather quickly, but I still am going to use my my embossing bag here just so nothing sticks. So let's get that powdered up really, really well. I just want to make sure that we don't have embossing powder where we don't want it. Okay, so for this card, we're using white. I've got this all ready. I've got all my stamps already on blocks, and we are using all 5, actually 4 of the snowflakes, and we're just going to scatter them randomly. So let's get everything prepped here. So we're going to take our largest first so we can kind of fill in that area. And I want to use a good juicy pad. And we are just using our Versamark watermark stamp pad because we are heat embossing. And I'm just going to put this one right there. I'm just going to kind of choose a focal point over there to the left because this is our largest stamp. Now let's put our powder on there. Perfect. And we can see where that is, but I am not going to heat emboss yet. I am going to continue to add my other stamps on here because I do want to minimize the amount of time that that heat gun is on this. So I am going to heat them all at once rather than heat them individually. Whereas our second card, I kind of did them individually. But I am going to put the powder on there just as soon as I ink that up. So we're just going to do that randomly, all of our different snowflakes here. And this will probably be, well, I may have one more Christmas card video after this, but that will be the last, only because I don't want anybody to run out of time to order Christmas supplies and still make cards and get them out. And my thought process with these was that I wanted to kind of make a flat card that would mail very easily. And I think these will mail quite well. So now we'll just use our little one and we're going to fill in some of these open areas. I think we can put this little one up here. And we want to be careful where we touch it. We don't want to smear our powder that we've already got on there. And then we're going to add, you know what, we're going to add a few more. Now don't forget, your sentiment is going to go towards the bottom right, so we don't have to fill in the whole area, but we do want quite a bit of it covered. So I will continue this. I think you guys kind of catch on. It's pretty simple at this point. Okay, there we go. Isn't that beautiful? I just love that white powder on top of that alcohol blended background. And you want to minimize the time that you have that heat gun on there, like I said, because we are still working on vellum. All right, so let's go ahead and put this one aside and let's work on our other background. And I know I've got everything here. So this one, I am just using a regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of cardstock. And this is the one where we are going to, I gotta wipe off my area here. This is the one where we are going to use all the different colors. This is more of a elegant card rather the fun wintry card. So let's go ahead, same thing. We will be using copper, silver, and gold embossing powder. So I want to remind everyone, be really careful and pay attention to what you're doing. Yesterday when I was doing my sample, I had a coffee filter here for each color, and I accidentally dumped my gold into my copper, and so I had to get rid of all that and start all over. And then I just wasn't paying attention yesterday. I also dumped the copper onto my laptop. I was watching TV and I wasn't paying attention, and I just dumped the whole thing onto my laptop. So I had to clean that up. That was a big mess. So here I'm just doing the same thing. I am just going to get my ink on there and then add my powder. Just like that. And I am just going to do these randomly. I think I'll do a couple more. I'll do some gold and I'll heat emboss that. And then I will heat emboss the other colors. We've got a couple little specks there that I want to get off. All right. And let's just add our snowflakes. So I'm just going to do different colors all over, and I will probably just speed this up for you. Okay, so as you can see, there was really no rhyme or reason as to what colors that I used where. I just kind of scattered them all over the place. I just wanted a nice variety of different colors. So let me clean up here and we will put these cards together. Okay, so let's put this card together. This is our multicolored card, and we need to trim this out so it will fit on our foil. We started at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we are going to trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4. Perfect. And I need to put some tear and tape on here. You know, I put some tear and tape on there off camera, and I forgot that I had to trim it. So we're just going to add a little bit more right there. I think everything else should be probably pretty good. And I just like to lift up my corners so I can get that on there. Perfect. I don't like to use liquid glue on foil because I don't want it to smear on there. I don't want to ruin my foil. So let's go ahead and get this placed. And then we can get this card complete. I think that's good, just like that. And then we can pull our release paper out, and our panel is on there perfect. Now, I did already do a sentiment off camera just to make it a little quicker. I gold heat embossed that, and then I cut it out with the die, and then I added a layer of foil to that. So let's get some dimensionals on there. And we will get this added. And I am going to bring in my ruler because I do have a little bit of a crooked eye. Sometimes I do place my sentiments a little wonky, and I do want this one to be perfect. There we go, just like that. And let's stamp the inside of our card before we put that panel on there. So what I did here was I went ahead and I already got my sentiment all lined up so it's straight. Like I said, I have a tendency to not always put everything perfectly straight. So for the gold, copper, and silver card, I am using my Crumb Cake ink. And we're just going to stamp that sentiment in there. And I love using the Stamparatus because it will get it straight. And if you need to stamp it again, it's in the same position. So it comes out perfect every time. Let's get this wiped off because I will be using this for our blue card also. So now we can go ahead and add our snowflakes to the inside of the card. Again, we're using Crumb Cake, and we are just going to scatter these all over. You know what? That's the large one. We're going to use that one on the envelope. So let's just put some of these here. I love to decorate the inside of the card just as much as the outside. So we'll put a little one up here. And another one over here. Perfect. So now we've got the inside decorated. Let's do our envelope. For the envelope, we're just going to take a piece of paper and put that right in there in case it goes off of the edge. And we will use our larger stamp. Put that right in the middle. Perfect. And then we can add some others. Just like that. Add a couple little ones. And then how about one on the front? I like this one. This is my favorite snowflake. The one with the little loops on there. So we'll put that one right there. Perfect. Now we can add our panel to the card base. I like to use liquid glue for this so I can move it around if I need to. Perfect. Just a little bit, there we go. Now we can add our embellishments. And for this one, I used the Festive Pearls. We are using the gold and the silver, and we're just going to scatter these all over. I put some of the silver ones inside. I used a different color on the inside of the snowflakes that the snowflake is, just to make it stand out a little bit more. And we can fill in some of those areas that we didn't get snowflakes on. Just how we usually do it. And then I think we'll just scatter some. Let's put a silver one there. A gold one over here. Oh, you know what? We've got quite a bit of gold going on there, but we've got gold everywhere. All right. Let's put that one up there. That looks kind of silly right across. So let's put one down here and another one up here. That should be good. No rhyme or reason, just scattering them. And there you go. That is one card done with a matching envelope. Isn't that pretty? And we did the inside. Perfect. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go ahead now and put together our wintry blue card. And I did go ahead and clean off the crumb cake off of our stamps off camera, just to make that a little easier. So we've got our panel here. We need to trim this down to 4 and 5 1/4, and we can just look at the area that we want to eliminate. So I definitely want to get rid of this line a little bit over here. Okay, that should be perfect. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to fit on there nicely. So let's go ahead and attach this. Now, the vellum did kind of warp a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of curl and curve my paper back to the shape that I want it to be. If you are up for it, you can do all your heat embossing and everything like the day before you put the card together, and then just put a block over it. After you heat emboss and it's all ready, just put a block over it all night and it will be nice and flat the next morning. So there we've got that. That is all ready. And you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. I am going to put a block on this right now while we stamp our card. So again, I am going to bring in my Stamparatus for our sentiment. And for our sentiment, we will be using Night of Navy ink. I've got Night of Navy for my layering piece, and Night of Navy for my sentiment here, and then we will also be stamping in the Night of Navy. Just a little pressure there. I think maybe one more time here. There we go. Let's wipe off our stamp. Okay, so now we can stamp our card and our envelope. Let's do the smaller on the inside. And I really need to ink up my Night of Navy stamp pad here, so I want to make sure that I get good coverage on this stamp. I think that's probably good. Just like that. Then we'll add another one over here. Perfect. Add our little ones. And I wanted to mention to everybody, we do have a new catalog starting in January. I am completing my order on that any day now. So if you do not have a demonstrator and you would like a catalog, please send me an email to Handmade Hugs by Melissa, and I can be sure to get a catalog out to you. If you have any questions also, please send me an email to handmadehugsbymelissa@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please be sure to like this video and leave a comment. That's how I get my videos shown in other places. YouTube loves comments, so any comment is appreciated. Almost done. Let's get this out of the way. See, that's a lot flatter now since we had that block on there. So let's add this to our card panel or our card base. And let's see which side we want up. I think we will put this side down. No, I think I want more color up on top. So let's go ahead and put it right here. Perfect, and we can move that if need be. And that is perfect. I did get a little booger here on there, but our eraser will clean that right up. Okay, now we can add our sentiment. We're just going to put that in the bottom right hand corner with some more dimensionals. All right. Let's put our sentiment on, and then we can do our embellishment. You know what, let's put that, I wanted it down here. Let's do that. No, I think we're going to, we also have Let It Snow. Do we want both or just one? I think just one. I should have put more snowflakes on there, but that's okay. I think we're going to put it up on top. That's perfect. And then I just used basic pearls for this one. Let's get those added on there. And I used the medium for the center of the snowflakes. And then I used the small to accents all around. Just everywhere, just scatter them. And each time you do this alcohol background, you will get a different look. And I'm also going to put a pearl over here in the white area because you can really still see it. There we go. I think that is good. These were very, very simple cards. They did take a little bit of time, what with the heat embossing and everything, but they did come out beautiful. I just love that. So we've got our card in our envelope with our blue. Then we've got our card in our envelope with the different color embossing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up. Please like and please comment. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.